Hi, welcome back to another episode of Rudimental Review. Today is going to be a bit of an addendum to the last episode where we talked about the multiple bounce roll. But today we're going to be talking about the multiple bounce roll but at a soft dynamic, piano or less. And the reason we're talking about that is the motion's a little bit different, but just giving that roll, that dynamic, its own attention is really important because those rolls are different. You'll usually get a little bit more beats, and it requires a lot more patience and control in your muscles in order to produce those without having unintended accents like this. So today we're going to be just talking about soft multiple bounce stroke rolls. So let's start now how we did the last episode. We're going to start at 60 BPM and we're going to do both hands together for 4 quarter notes, and then we're going to do eighth notes, alternating hands starting on the right, and then 4 more quarter notes together, and then 4 alternating starting on the left. And it's important, most of your motion for soft rolls are going to come from your elbows right here. Your shoulders aren't going to get used too much. And I would encourage you with these soft rolls to really try and isolate and only use your elbow and not use your wrist too much here. And remember, when we're doing rolls, we're just applying a tiny bit more pressure down into the drum head. We're not really trying to push super hard. We're not tightening our fulcrum to produce the stroke, to produce the bounces. Really just a little more down pressure. And it's not as much as you think. Not so much that it's nasally like this. Not so little that it's super open like this. But nice in the middle. All right, let's do this exercise. 60 BPM. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. If I were on a snare drum and I would be practicing these, I would be practicing just about an inch or inch and a half off the rim here, and that'll make the sound a little bit more delicate. Since I'm on a practice pad, I don't really have that luxury, so I'm going to be playing right in the center as normal. Okay, so now let's push the tempo on that. This is 75 BPM. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. Pushing the tempo now to 90 BPM. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. 105. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. Final tempo, 120 BPM. Remember, stay relaxed. Make sure you're not tightening your fulcrum to produce a stroke, and make sure you're only going from your elbows. This, as well as last video, and all the videos really, it's really important you're watching yourself in the mirror because these are new motions, most likely. Make sure you're not reverting back to what was comfortable. Make sure that you're learning this new motion. While it might feel uncomfortable at first, in time, you'll get used to it. Here's 120. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. So now we're going to go and do lesson 10 again from Syncopation for the Modern Drummer by Ted Reed. And we're going to, instead of just doing the rolls on the 16th notes like we did last video, we're going to do buzzes on all of the notes. So, for example, this first line would sound like this. Good. So let's start on the right, 60 BPM. And we're just going to do this first section, lines 1 through 4. 1, 2, ready, and go. And. Very good. Before we move on to the left, make sure that your stick height is not going over maybe even half an inch above the drum head. We really want to make sure that we're practicing at very sensitive, delicate dynamic, piano or less. Here we are, starting on the left. 1, 2, ready, and go. And. Good. At these slower tempos, it's okay if your two strokes don't connect like they would in a normal roll. There's a little bit of separation. They'll connect at faster tempos. In fact, let's push it now to 75, starting on the right. 1, 2, ready, and go. And. Good. You hear it starting to connect as faster we go. Here's starting on the left. 1, 2, ready, and go. And. Good. Pushing the tempo to 90 BPM. Starting on the right. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. Starting on the left. 1, 2, ready, go. Good. And for this final tempo, instead of going to 105 like we normally would, we're going to go to 100, just 10 clicks instead of 15. And the reason for that is you really don't need to go much faster than 100 for a soft roll to sound nice and connected and full. Here we are, 100 BPM, starting on the right. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. Starting on the left. 1, 2, ready, go. Very good. And just like in last video, I would recommend that you go through all of lesson 10 in this book and apply this exercise to it. By the time you get to the second page of the exercise, you'll be just doing a 4-measure roll, which is really good for you, and it really challenges you to keep your notes all even, make sure all your buzzes are all even, and make sure that you can produce a really legato, luscious, soft roll. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Rudimental Review. Enjoy practicing.